Thousands of cars are piling up at European ports. What's going on? Why is it the case? When I say thousands, I'm talking about tens of thousands. There's enormous numbers of cars sitting at ports, and it costs money to keep them there. Car companies are literally paying to just have their cars sitting at ports. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. Great to have you with us. The auto industry is facing some pretty big challenges. Antwerp-Bruges normally ships more than 3 million vehicles every year, but cars made in Europe are just sitting there. I reported a while back, a few months ago, that there was Chinese cars sitting at European ports, and they were because of what was a pretty crazy situation at the time being. There's still some of them there, but majority of them have been removed, fortunately for these European automakers, because otherwise their cars couldn't sit there right now. Tensions over trade wars with the United States is massively affecting Europe's automotive industry, and the effects are becoming very clear. At ports across Europe, thousands and thousands and thousands of cars are sitting idle because they're waiting to be shipped to the United States. Automakers are praying that President Donald Trump will scale back or cancel. That's not happening, but scale back, hopefully, the sweeping tariffs on automotive, or basically on the automotive industry in Europe. So far, though, that prayer is misplaced. The backlog continues to grow. What Europe is hoping, they're hoping that they can make a deal like the UK made. So the United Kingdom, they were able to make a deal so that the tariff is now 10%. But remember, the United Kingdom has not been charging the United States tariffs on their cars for the last 30 years, which Europe has. Europe charges tariffs on all cars of 10%. So Europe has been charging a 10% tariff, in some cases more than this, but it's been charging a 10% tariff across the board on all cars that come to the old world, to the European continent. So Donald Trump's saying, and the American government is saying, we want that money back, right? We didn't charge you these tariffs. Now, I've heard the argument that there's a chicken tariff. There's a chicken, they call it a chicken. Anyway, basically what people are saying is that, well, America got back on the United States on these tariffs because they put big tariffs on pickup trucks, right? They put big tariffs on pickup trucks, so it meant that Europe couldn't build pickup trucks and send them to the United States. Now, that argument is truly nonsensical, and I've addressed that on the channel before. People actually say this in the comments, and because someone says it, someone else likes it, and it sounds plausible. It's completely implausible. One, it's very expensive to ship a car from Europe to the United States. So you're already looking at being behind the eight ball. Number two, it costs on average 20% more to produce a car in Europe than it does in the United States. Yeah, 20%. So you're paying tariffs, you're paying a high cost of production. Three, Europe does not have an industry for pickup trucks. They don't sell them there. Very small numbers of pickup trucks are sold in Europe. And they only sell small ones, which Americans don't buy in large numbers. Yeah, the Ford Ranger, it's not really that, it sells in America, but not a lot, right? And it's a Ford. It's a Ford. I'm just going to repeat it. It's not a Citroen. It's not a BMW. It's not a Porsche. It's not a Volkswagen. By the way, Volkswagen's pickup trucks are made by Ford as well. Just worth keeping that in mind. So the whole idea that this chicken tariff tax on pickup trucks in Europe had any effect on the European car industry whatsoever is completely false. So basically, in the United States, I think fairly are saying to Europe, well, we want to charge you a higher tariff to kind of get back all the money we've had to pay you. It wasn't a fair trade. And it's true, it wasn't a fair trade. I think Europe should have probably addressed this a long time ago. Donald Trump should have probably addressed this in his previous term. And then this issue wouldn't apply. I mean, obviously, the United Kingdom have been able to say, well, we didn't do this. So Donald Trump and the US administration's gone, well, that's true. Okay, let's work something out. Recent figures show a huge impact on Europe. The number of new passenger vehicles exported from Belgium's port of Antwerp-Bruges to the US has dropped by 16% in the first half of this year. Volkswagen sales in the United States have fallen by 30%. Many automakers are struggling. As one of the world's busiest automotive shipping centers, the port handled more than 3 million vehicles in 2024 alone, making the decline especially significant. Now the port is home to thousands of vehicles from European brands, including BMW, Smart, and others. And according to the port, the outlook for the second half of the year is troubling. They said this, it will depend on whether a trade agreement between Europe and the US can be reached by the 1st of August. So the European automotive industry, basically European Union, are under immense pressure now. And the US government knows this. They know what they're doing. They know, right? Europe doesn't buy a lot of American cars, pretty small number. But the US traditionally has bought quite a lot of European cars. So they know what they're doing here. They're putting immense pressure on Europe. Speaking with the Guardian, Justin Atkin, the UK and Irish representative of the port, said the tariffs have had an immediate and significant impact on several industries, not just the automotive industry. With the pandemic, we had lockdown. Then we were out of lockdown, then back into lockdown, and people got used to managing it after being unprepared, he said. Whereas here, people have talked about tariffs in the build-up to Trump, but I don't think anyone expected the level and severity of the instantaneous action. It's not just the exportation of cars from the port that has slowed to almost nothing. Approximately 32% less high and heavy equipment is being exported to the United States as well, including construction vehicles and tractors. So the entire European manufacturing sector is under siege right now because of these tariffs on their stuff that goes to the United States, which is having a tremendous effect on their economy. I've mentioned on this channel a number of times that bankruptcies in Germany were at an all-time high last year, and they're predicted to be even worse this year. So this is reflective of what's really going on in Europe, of the real troubles being faced by the potentially, partly as well because of the disruption of China. China is also disrupting Europe at the same time. So Europe's kind of getting pinched between the United States and China at this point in time. Both markets it's having issues with in different ways. Things may get worse before they get better, says Carscoops. Despite weeks of negotiations between the United States and the European Union, a new trade deal has yet to be reached. This prompted Trump to announce early this week that new 30% tariffs will be enforced on Europe from the 1st of August. And this new tariff will be separate from sector-specific tariffs, such as those placed on cars and on steel. This will be an enormous strain on the automotive industry. Cars will pile up and stack up at ports. Basically, these automakers who are shipping cars from the US and have relied on doing that for decades, now they'll be thinking, what are we going to do? How do we get ourselves out of the situation? They'll be calling up the European Union officials saying, we need a deal. Make a damn deal. Whatever it is, just take the deal. We need to make something happen. That's the kind of situation I think Europe is in right now. And when I say there's cars piling up at these ports, I mean huge numbers, massive numbers of cars. Europe still does send a lot of cars. Audi doesn't make cars in the United States, right? Porsche doesn't either. So all the cars going to the US from those brands are only made in Europe. Yeah, this is a big issue. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.